Well, I thought I would go through my, this on Facebook, by the way. Thought I'd go through my latest affidavit that UCD is going to be responding to in person on the 6th of July in courtroom 6 at the Four Courts in Dublin. So this is the High Court, matter of judicial review, Ashley Denningham and the Workplace Relations Commission, because of they dismissed my case without any hearing, any opportunity to present submissions. So this is a supplemental affidavit, medical issues affecting the proceedings. Have to get permission for the judge for this, obviously, and I did I was granted permission, and I filed it promptly, and I sent it to the other side promptly, because I don't withhold anything. I'm very forthright. I have nothing to hide, giving the other side everything I can as I get it, versus the other side, which if UCD had provided the footage on the 6th of June, when I requested the footage, or obviously soon thereafter, then this could have been all resolved then. I would have at least been able to make submissions. But, do you know, it seems like when somebody doesn't want objective evidence released, why don't they want to release that? So, all the delays are due to evidence, but yeah, this did have an effect on my mental state as well. So I, Ashley Denningham, age 18 years and upwards of, blanked out my address, make oath and say as follows. I make this affidavit pursuant to liberty granted by this honorable court to provide further evidence concerning medical issues affecting my ability to progress these proceedings. I say I experienced ongoing medical difficulties, materially affected my ability to consistently manage and progress litigation, correspondence, academic matters, and related affairs. These did not arise in isolation, but occurred against a backdrop of significant difficulties during the relevant period, involving documented injuries in May 2024, just before the university examinations. During the period immediately following the matters referred to in my first exhibit, and shortly prior to the exams, I had attributed certain injuries to a motorcycle accident when requesting permission from both examination invigilators and student helpers to sit on my jacket during examinations. These difficulties referred to herein were ongoing during that examination period and affected practical matters connected to the examinations, including locating my UCD student identification card, and formed part of the, technical difficulties. And form part of the broader circumstances giving rise to evidential matters referred to elsewhere in this affidavit. While this affidavit is primarily directed to the period from January 2025 onwards, the respondent and the other party to the underlying complaint, so WRC is the respondent and UCD, were aware from at least the first listing of the complaint, September 2024, through the final substantive communications, including correspondence from WRC, culminating in the dismissal decision in October 2025, that I had health difficulties affecting my ability to engage fully with the process, including as reflected in correspondence from the solicitor for the other party, Mr. Lorcan Mall of MHC, in or about August 2025. I was I was told that there would be a hearing relisted, and I was waiting on that. I mean, I didn't hound them enough, essentially. I was begging for CCTV, begging for joint viewing, asked for a postponement, and I was continuing to engage with the school and everything. I basically was engaging with everyone but the WRC, because I was waiting for another hearing. And depression and anxiety and everything. I mean, this is my life. I enjoy law. I'm a bit lawtistic, as the law tubers say. And I was continuing to forward things to the other side, because I didn't feel that forwarding it to WRC was just forwarding it to the other side. So, we could each prepare the cases. We'd have the information in the cases. So the matters were known to the parties by the time of the first listing of the complaint, which they insist was, they say it was adjourned because it was unwell. I had asked them to adjourn it because I had only just been provided like really shitty quality footage. It was just emailed, like redacted footage where I'm like a little dot on the screen. And of course, that's no good for court. And so I told them that, and the WRC actually said that they had no mechanism for adjournment, and I'm just looking at them like, what do you mean? Like, that it was absolutely impossible for a case to be adjourned, that there was no way a case could be adjourned. I was like, okay. And, then I was saying about the health difficulties and things like that. This case may be suicidal. And the other side had actually, UCD solicitors had said, oh, well, if there's health issues, then maybe we should adjourn. So that's why it was adjourned for health issues, because they wouldn't adjourn it for evidentiary issues. And I was also suicidal. There were two things going on. I'm having difficulty preparing the case because of the anxiety and depression brought on by the case and by not being able to get the evidence. If I'd been provided the CCTV, then I would not have been unwell. I would have presented my case in September. But because I did not have access to what I needed for the case, UCD was withholding objective evidence and continuing to press forward, requiring that I submit an apology letter in order to return to uni. That was the only thing they required. And they said, if I do not write a letter apologizing, that I'm going to be suspended on foot of that. And my email address was very, very, very nearly terminated. Very nearly terminated in March, which I use for everything. But again, so they say that it was adjourned because I was unwell. So if they want to go with the medical route, then okay, there's medical evidence of the issues that were transpiring during the course of these proceedings. So I further say that the respondent itself referred to my underlying health issues in subsequent correspondence, including correspondence dated the 30th of September 2025, indicating intention to dismiss the complaint, and the subsequent dismissal decision dated 15th of October 2025, which I received and responded to promptly in November following increases in prescribed medication on the 26th of September. I just couldn't, I couldn't go on. I mean, it's vitally important to me. And I mean, invigilators lied on reports. Like I get canceled for no reason. They just assumed that because I was American, I was, pro-Israel and anti-Palestine and all that. I don't say. When I was their age, I was marching against wars back in America. It didn't do a darn bit of good. Like it's absolutely insane. It's insanity. I have to fight for my life because it's been my lifelong dream, and I do like law. It's a very interesting subject. It's my lifelong dream to go to uni. There's no dole in America or anything like that, so I couldn't. I had to work. I had a bad home life. I had to run away at 14, 15. I finally got away for good. I turned 18 in a homeless shelter. I was groomed by somebody I met when I was 17 into, and things go on. It's like now I get here and it's like, well, I've made it. I'm at UCD. Life is good. And then they do this to me. I mean, I I have to continue. Like, it's sent me to the track several times. I very nearly ended my life over this. But I, not only thinking of my life, but other lives, who else is going to think, who else is going to be able to push this hard, if this was a foreign student, an immigrant student, that didn't have residency in this country, they wouldn't be able to fight. They would just be shipped back home, I don't want them doing this to anyone else. There needs to be system change. So they gave me 15 days notice to provide a medical cert. So that I had not provided in response to an email in February, even though I had provided proof of medical difficulties and I had put in a postponement application, and there was no way that there could have been a fair hearing on the 7th of February. But they canceled it, and they said, I had no idea it would not be relisted without a medical cert. I mean, I'm like, am I child? Is this like, oh, you missed a test in school. We need a real doctor's note. You missed a test in school, or like, what is this? Like, even can we not just like go with the case and get the evidentiary issues resolved? Like, what the heck do you need a specific doctor's note when there couldn't be a fair hearing on the day anyways? So I say my medical difficulties were therefore not new or unforeseen matters arising after the hearing of 7th of February 2025, but form part of the broader factual context known to the parties during the progression of the complaint. Further say at the first listing of the underlying complaint on 27th of September 2024, issues arose both in relation to my health and in relation to unresolved evidential matters, in particular access to CCTV material, including the proposed joint viewing of CCTV footage identified during the hearing process. As of evidence by contemporaneous correspondence and hearing notes, I sent an email 2 days later to RDS requesting a joint viewing, which was CC'd to Lorcan Mall, it was CC'd to the WRC, it was CC'd to UCD. I mean, it's a laundry list of email addresses I CC'd it to. Because we were supposed to have a joint viewing. Of course, the Workplace Relations Commission, they're on the side of UCD. They were from the start. When I walked in there, I saw a whole group of people walking out of the back room, smiling and laughing and patting each other on the back. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's I guess the UCD contingent. Where's the oh, the WRC adjudicator is mixed in with that lot of everybody laughing and smiling and clapping each other on the back. And like I said, when I get in there today, they haven't provided the evidence. Oh, we can't adjourn. There's no mechanism to adjourn. Well, I'm suicidal as well because of all this, and the other side said, oh, okay, well, we could adjourn for that then. And then the 15 days notice, like this is, I say evidential issues remained central to the progression of the complaint and were matters which I'd actively raised and sought to address. And prior to the hearing on 7th of February, I'd sought a postponement on the basis that relevant evidential material had only been partially provided by the responding party in the underlying complaint by UCD a week before on the 31st of January, and I was not in a position to make timely submissions. Supposed to be 15 days ahead of time. UCD had control over everything. UCD says, oh, this is when we can show you the footage 1 week before. And there's no mention of the postponement application by WRC whatsoever, just that I was unwell, and this is just vexatious and, all of that crap. Further say on the 7th of February, I experienced health difficulties resulting in my admission to hospital, and the respondent's correspondence and ultimate dismissal of the complaint placed the primary emphasis on the absence of further medical documentation and non-attendance, notwithstanding continuing evidential difficulties. I say the overall context of the proceedings therefore involved both ongoing medical difficulties affecting my capacity to engage fully with the process and unresolved evidential matters affecting my ability to properly prepare the case. I know, sweetheart. Oh, ow, ow. I know, Felix, darling. Yeah, what's up, baby? I know. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Hold on, baby. Okay, food's coming. Food, yes, I'm going to feed you here soon, sweetheart. Oh, where's the screen record? Hold on, baby. Hold on. I know, I'm going to get you fed. Hold on, baby. Hold on. Can't find the thing.